Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me for Black Friday coverage is Michael Jais, CEO of Launchmetrics, to discuss the company's acquisition of PARKLU, China's premier influencer analytics platform, and the fashion, luxury, and beauty industries, or FLB. Michael, it's great to see you. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Good morning.
And Michael, before we get into the acquisition, give the audience some insight into the Chinese FLB market and how many brands are represented there.
Yeah, I mean, Chinese consumer, we can start with the consumer. They expect to account around like half of global spending in high-end brands in 2020, moving up from 37% to 50% of the global spending, so it's huge. In terms of number of brands, we can expect that there are like 30,000 brands that are already present in China, one way or another, either through like e-commerce flagship stores or like cross-border stores. So it's a lot of brands. That is explained by the strength of social network there, right? I mean, they got like more than 10 social network with more than 100 million users that are already into social selling there.
Is the Chinese market the only region to report year-over-year growth in 2020?
Yes, I think China will be, mainland China is expected to be like the only region to report a year-over-year growth this year. And it will just grow 35%, which is huge, to reach around $50 billion, according to Bain 2020 reports. That can be explained by two reasons. The first one is that obviously travel retail has stopped. So basically Chinese consumer that were like consuming in Europe or in the US, they are staying in China. And obviously that did represent more than 150 million trips in 2019. So now that they stay in China, it means that the volume of sales in China will grow. And that's the first reason. Second reason is that after the lockdown, they've been having like a very quick recovery. We have some customers that reporting that in Q1 2020, their sales decreased by 98% in China compared to the same period last year. And in Q2, it just grew up to 120% of the sales they had the previous year. So very quick recovery, and just travel retail that stopped explain why China is so high in 2020.
Michael, you had mentioned that the social network and influencers are really key in the Chinese market. What do Western companies need to do to make headway in the Chinese FLB market?
I think that the key topic, the hot topic, is influencer marketing, as we call it in Europe and in the US, and key opinion leaders marketing, as they call it in China. Let me give you the example of the traditional purchase path in Europe or in the US, right? In fact, in Europe and the US, before purchasing, you got like 4 touch points. Basically, you go on Google to just check on the brand. Then you go on Instagram to get some inspiration, and then you go on Facebook or WhatsApp to just comfort what you think about the brand with your friend and family, and then you purchase either on the e-commerce website of the brand or like on the e-tailer website, right? So it's like 4 touch points. In China, you got 8 touch points, and the other 4 touch points are influencer recommendations. So key opinion leaders and influencers account for 50% of the purchasing process. So it's huge. And that means that really it's a different world there. Like influencer is not just for inspiration, it's for really transforming and conversion of sales, right? So that means that it's also not the same dimension. Let me give you the example of the difference between the different type of influencers. In Europe and in the US, I would say that the most influential personality in fashion is Chiara Ferragni. She's very powerful. She has like 25 million followers on Instagram, right? But when you just rank her globally, she's 15th in terms of number of followers, far behind some Chinese influencers like Austin Lee, who's got 120 million of followers on WeChat. So it's like different dimension, different process, and obviously different engagement and activation techniques.
Michael, where does Launchmetrics fit into the FLB ecosystem, and what will the acquisition of PARKLU be able to do to further the Launchmetrics strategy?
Okay, if you think about it, the main question for fashion luxury brand is why does the consumer buy from Gucci versus Prada or the opposite, right? And for us, it's not a question of product. Of course, the products are all good, but it's a question of brand momentum, right? So the question, I mean, the reason that keeps like CEOs awake at night is really how can I just maintain the momentum of my brand, right? And somehow Launchmetrics is the company behind the scene that helps the brand keeping that momentum. So we help more than 1,000 brands in the world by giving them the right tools and data that help them creating, I would say, inspirational, impactful and measurable experiences. So we got tools that help them like digitalize their collection, make sure that they are really efficient online. We got the right data that help them restart in China, for example. We got the data for that. And we got the right algorithm that helps them measure the return on investment for all their campaigns. So that's what we do. And because China is more than 40% of the market of our customers, we had to be there, right? So regarding the acquisition of PARKLU, I think that if you think about what a brand needs to be both global and local, they need to be local, so they need to have teams in China to be able to engage with the influencers, right? To really create some business relationship with them. So with the acquisition of PARKLU, we've got teams in Hong Kong and in Shanghai to help our global customers engage with the right influencers and define the right influencer strategy locally. But we also have the opportunity to consolidate all the data coming from the Chinese market for a brand that would really want to understand how much they get for $1 they spend on Instagram or on WeChat, right? So you got the ability to consolidate the performance of all influencer strategies across the world.
All right, Michael, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you.